Well, this segment over here, we got over here a good friend of mine, a guy who personally has helped me. One of the reasons why we got Kilroy's GI contractor started and all the different things that we're doing over here. Attorney Mark Vasquez, to talk to us a little bit about if you're a veteran and you're thinking about starting up your own business, call Mark and Mark can give us some good advice and pointers. So Mark,
Hey,
thank you.
Mark, first say your last name.
Vasquez, Mark Vasquez.
Vasquez.
You have to have that accent in there.
And thanks for having me here today.
Now, Mark,
Major.
it's a pleasure. And I can tell you, if you're out there and you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you need a good attorney to get your book started and get everything going. Mark is phenomenal. He really walked me through the entire process, telling me all things that I needed to know. In fact, he asked me the questions that I didn't even know to ask. And that is a real testimony to how he will work tirelessly to get you set up right.
Thank you. And that was a good first meeting whenever we had. And, you came to my office and you said, I'm going to be transitioning to private life and I want to be start a business. And what do I need to do? Because this is what my plans are. And we basically sat down and we had a really good conversation as far as what your goals were and how do we actually, achieve those goals through that process.
And it was so smooth and easy and, obviously, very big step to get started. And you really made that transition for me simple. And that was, awesome. I appreciate it.
Mark, what's the biggest challenge that you see when new clients come to you in getting themselves started?
A lot of the times what I see, and I see almost on a daily basis, is educating clients as far as what's the process is when it becomes, I want to start a business or I want to grow my business. And they've been maybe operating as a sole proprietor, which just says, I'm just starting my business, I'm just doing what I'm going to do, or I'm thinking of starting it. And really, they don't know how to start or the places. They don't know a lot of the pitfalls that can happen, a lot of the legalities.
There are a lot of legal pitfalls out there just with the IRS if you are not set up properly.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of trouble. Mark, tell us a little bit about how the process should start. Like, what are, if you got a veteran out there listening to the show right now, what are some of the first things they should do to get their own business or company started?
And one of the first things, and I can use Major White as an example, is, he wanted to start his business. And one of the things that I first told him is, one of the things when you're first starting a business is you always have to consider not only the legal aspect, but Robin pointed it out real well, is the tax implications that can have on you personally when you start a business. And most people don't talk about that or don't understand that. And I always talk about it. Everybody knows, okay, I want to start a business. I want to incorporate my business in order to get some type of legal protection, which means, then my personal assets are not basically tied to my business. It's just my business and it's me separately. And I think, but that's something that, everybody kind of thinks about. But what they don't think about is the tax implications. And what I always tell my clients, folks that come and see me, is the tax implications are you're going to see year after year. You may have a business, you incorporate it, whether it's an LLC, whether it's an Inc., which is just a company, but they don't see the aspect of the IRS aspect. And I say those are the benefits if you incorporate that you're going to see year after year. The legal protection is always there. However, you may never use it. You may never get sued. You may never have those types of legal problems. But what you do have every year is, one, you have to file your taxes.
And so one of the great aspects of hiring an attorney that specializes in business startups is that you help guide them, you help educate them, so they know when they have to file, whether it's monthly reports or quarterly reports or yearly reports to the IRS, when they have to pay that license fee every single year, which a lot of people don't know or they don't keep on top of.
And that's one of the big conversations that we have usually in our initial meeting. And Andrew can attest to that. We talked about basically the process, because the process from incorporation is basically it's filing documents with the Secretary of State, depending if you have other partners, other shareholders, how are you going to treat that relationship amongst yourselves, amongst the owners, or who are the shareholders?
Right.
And that deals with, one, if you're filing a regular incorporation, it could be bylaws. If you're filing an LLC, which is what you see more common now, you have company agreements or operating agreements, and that basically outlines the relationship between all the owners.
And how about this? Now with Obamacare, it definitely affects businesses. If you have so many employees, you have to provide health care. If you have a business with a certain number of employees that's under the requirement, then you don't. There's just so many
Yes,
different
there's so many
things to know about now, even with Obamacare coming in when you start your business.
Exactly. There's so many implications that can affect your business. Not only, okay, I need to run my business, but then there's all this other issues outside from, like you mentioned, Obamacare. You got IRS issues, you got state tax issues, you got franchise tax that you have to deal on a daily basis as a business owner. So one of the things that I always, applaud individuals that want to start a business is when they go seek help for the very first time. Because I see a lot of individuals coming to me when they have problems.
And it's too late.
And it's too late sometimes.
A lot of times, it is too late.
And it's always too late, and it's always too expensive. And I always like to tell people it's always better to spend a little in the front than spend a lot at the end.
Yes,
and I always tell people that.
And I can tell you, I'm glad that I did spend a little at the front and get working with you and get affiliated to get all those things started for my business.
And usually what we do is, like what I did with Major, is we had a really good education session in the very beginning. And I kind of ran through all the pitfalls, all the benefits that, that are out there that you can use for your business. And one of the main one is basically incorporating your business, because that provides you legal protection. And at the same time, you can achieve some really good tax planning that it also minimize taxes going forward.
Yep. Now, Mark, talk us a little bit about, if you're like, I happen to have a veteran-owned business, some of the benefits of filing as a veteran-owned business to disabled-owned business to, like Robin, have a women's-owned business.
Minority.
Some of the benefits of doing that and what that could do for you business if you want to get one started.
And that was one of the important questions that you brought to me when you first came in is, I'm a veteran. I want to start this business, and I also want to go and try to get business from the government that's out there for veterans, or that's out there for disabled veterans, out there for women. And the first thing I told Andrew is, well, you have to incorporate, because in order to do business with the government, you have to be some type of corporate entity, because they require that. And then the other thing is, if you want to achieve those types of contracts, is you have to become certified. And there's various certifications out there, from the state level, from the local level, and ultimately from the federal government, when you want to actually compete for those types of contracts. And those certifications are kind of like the evolution of when you first start your business and get it incorporated, and then to evolving to certifying your business as whether it's a veteran-owned business, whether it's disabled veteran business, women business. And those are the types of certifications that are out there that will help you achieve those types of contracts that are out there by the federal government that are set aside for these types of businesses, and
Mark,
to be able to get those contracts.
What type of timeline do you suggest to your clients that come in, they want to start a business? Because getting those certifications does not happen in a week.
Exactly. And when a person is, or a veteran wants to start their business, one of the first things is come and start the process as far as the corporate process. Because once you start the corporate process, and it's a pretty straightforward, pretty quick process that carries out with the state. Once you get that, then you can start the certification process. And that's the one that takes a little bit longer, depending on the certification agency. It can be anywhere from 3 to 6 months. It all just depends on that office and what certifications you're trying to achieve. So if you're on the planning stages, that's a perfect time to do it, because then you can actually plan and actually plan out how far out it's going to take you.
What types of documents should people start preparing, pulling together now as they're thinking about starting their own business?
A lot of times is when they come into me, it's like I'm asking for, what their tax status is at that point in time, as far as filings, whether they thought of a name, who the owners are going to be, how the percentages are going to play out, and things like that is one of those initial planning stages that has to be done at the onset.
And that's something that you can help with in a big way, is protect the name of your business.
That's
That's something we don't think about.
It's huge.
Exactly.
It's huge. Well, Mark, don't leave us. We're going to take a quick station break. When we come back, we're going to bring both you and Herb to, kind of talk a little bit more about the business and what we've got opportunities for our veterans. Listeners, you're listening to Kilroy's Conversation on KVCE AM 1160, Dallas Fort Worth Business Authority. If you got a question for me, Mark, Robin, or Herb, call us 214-787-1160. XO, take us out. We'll be at Kilroy's Conversation. We're joined over here today with my guest, attorney Mark Vasquez, the chairman of the Tri-County Hispanic Chamber, Herb Montabalas, and of course, as always, my lovely co-host Robin Valentudo, the Dallas Sports Angel, which is going to give us a quick sports update.
Broncos are still leading over the Patriots 3-0.
And it's
Special
still early in
teams.
the game, so Patriot Nation, don't worry. We will come back. Tom Terrific is not going to let us
I
down.
will tell you this: it is already in the second quarter, Major White.
Hey, that's all right. Tom waits for the very last of the game. He's a thrill for the dramatics.
Well, the fact that there's no touchdown on the board and you're in the second quarter, it is seems like it's a big battle, a good battle.
Awesome. Well, of course, this show segment today is brought to you again by Fortress Foundation System Repair. If you have problems with your foundation, call Dan at 817-550-5000 or look him up online at affsfoundations.com. All righty, Mark, we were talking about veterans starting up their own businesses and what they need to do to prepare themselves to get their business off the ground.
Great information. And I'll say this, you're targeting veterans, but those of you tuning in, even if you're not a veteran,
absolutely, yes,
listen in, take notes. This is valuable information.
And it's very important, you know, when anyone wants to start the process, whether it's a veteran or not, it's to just get started. That's the hardest part.
That's the biggest fear, right?
It's to get started. And,
take that first step.
and I try to make it very painless and easy on folks to come and see me and, you know, basically spend time with them, educating them on the process as far as how it all plays out. And I encourage, you know, anyone out there, your listeners, veterans, non-veterans, you know, if they're thinking about this, is get educated in the beginning because you can get a lot of valuable information. And I don't mind, you know, if you calling me, come and see me, go to my website. My phone number is 214-749-4747. My website is, you can find me at mkvlaw.com. And there's some valuable information, but that's how you can get a hold of me. And we can start the process as far as of educating you what the steps are when you want to start your business.
Do you find that one of the biggest fears for people getting started and seeking out an attorney that can help them is the cost of it?
Right.
They think it's outrageous?
Right. They think a lot of times people think that it's really going to be really expensive just to go talk to an attorney. And I can assure you, and I think Andrew can assure you as well, Mr. White, that it's not, that it's painless.
There is a cost and nothing is free, but I will tell you, it is very affordable, and Mark was more than willing to work for you. I know he was very accommodating working with me. It's a small investment for a possible big future that you may have.
Well
and
said.
Quite honestly, if you try doing it on your own, yes, you could do it, but we all heard the adjective. You never see a brain surgeon operating on their own, you know. And
Good analogy.
You wouldn't do that, you know. And unless you are really smart and really knowledgeable on the matters, you want to go out there and seek someone like Mark out to get started.
And to help you not fall into the pitfalls that eventually will cost you so much more than that initial investment of seeking out an attorney that specializes in starting a business.
And that's what I see a lot in, you know, a lot of folks like Major White perfectly said is that, you know, they try to do it themselves and then they get into traps, pitfalls, and then they come and see me and it's about cleaning up, you know, what's been done
and
then educating them again. And, you know, it's, to me, like I said, it's just easier just to come, sit down with me, we have a conversation and basically lay out a plan of what can be done.
Do you suggest also for folks that want to start a business, make sure they have maybe an outline of a business plan to get started? Or do you help them with that?
And I've helped folks. Some people already kind of have a business plan or have an idea. And a lot of times I tell them, well, you know, if you want to get financing, they're going to ask for a business plan. That's guaranteed. That's guaranteed. And that's very important. And that's something that I can also take them through that. When it comes
Very
to that.
good.
And I can attest, Attorney Vasquez has been tremendous for the Tri-County Regional Hispanic Chamber. He actually is the attorney for our chamber. And I went up to him and like he said, Attorney Vasquez is a great person to talk to. I said, this chamber is like no other chamber. We've got 15 chambers here, 4 chambers internationally. Went to Attorney Vasquez, presented what we were wanting to do. He kind of looked at me like, what? You know? But the thing about it is he set us up. He developed a great plan. It was painless. It was affordable. And he did a fabulous job on having a very dynamic, unique chamber of commerce like ours, which is a really benefit to us that he helped us out. So I can tell you that what he's telling and what Major White is saying is terrific.
Well, that is a great endorsement, not only from Kilroy's conversation, Kilroy's GI contractors, also the Tri-County Regional Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, our lawyer, Mark Vasquez, in the